Story RH, the podcast that makes a long story short.
Welcome to all.
History is made of stories.
In this episode, we'll be talking about cooperation and what organizations can do to cultivate that cooperation.
Collaboration, we're told, holds the key to efficiency, creativity, and agility, more collective intelligence. The trouble is, we've heard the word collaboration so often that we've ended up forgetting what we are really looking for is not collaboration but cooperation. Working together towards the same goal.
We're told collaboration and cooperation are a means to an end. Cooperate and everything will improve. But the problem is the way we cooperate. We know we need to cooperate, but we don't know how to do it effectively. It's not a question of why. It's a matter of how. What's the story?
Collaboration is combined effort. Cooperation is working together with a common goal. It's not just about working together, it's about working towards the same end, on some sort of collective undertaking. It's about acting in the interests of the common good.
Obviously. Cooperation between team members means everyone has to be on board, which means managers need to understand the strategic plan, share it with their team and explain it.
That also involves explaining how the team's contribution fits into the overall plan. And, if it doesn't, then maybe things are on the wrong track. In which case, instead of blundering on blindly, it might be worth taking a minute to check the map and find your way.
But getting everyone on board doesn't just mean explaining the strategy once at the start of the year. Managers and team leaders need to embody it on a daily basis. They need to regularly show how the actions of the team tie in with the company's overall plan. They need to measure progress along the way. Make sure everyone knows where they stand, what remains to be done, and how they can contribute.
Exactly, that's our second point of focus. Clarify roles and responsibilities to support strategic alignment.
Let's look at a specific example. Setting individual goals for team members. Strategic alignment in this case means breaking down the overall plan to create specific goals for the team and for individual team members, then ensuring these goals are in sync and consistent with one another.
Conflicting goals will nip any hope of cooperation in the bud. Imagine you're in charge of organizing a meetup between customers and prospects and you've been told to ensure a given number of participants. Except you've been told nothing about the end goal, which is to turn those prospects into customers. If you're just trying to hit your target in terms of bodies in the room, then you might end up inviting unhappy customers, who definitely won't be your best ambassadors.
Clarifying roles and responsibilities obviously involves setting individual goals, but there's more to it. It means clarifying any leeway, levels of responsibility, and individual autonomy. It means delegating, but that's a story for another day.
The third point of focus, which follows on from this, involves organizing team operations. That means clarifying individual roles and responsibilities, along with individual goals. Of course, there's bound to be some overlap and a need to share information, with team members and different units relying on one another.
That's why it's crucial to establish routines and practices that support the end goal and ensure everything runs smoothly.
Of course, that doesn't mean everyone has to sit around a table and do everything together. Everyone has their own area of responsibility, separate from that of their colleagues. But the team also needs milestones, a time when things come together and everyone shares their progress, a time when people talk about what they've done, what remains to be done, and any decisions they've taken that are likely to affect their colleagues.
That's also a good time to share any problems encountered along the way and get people to help one another. But for that, you need to build trust, which is also a story for another day.
The last point of focus involves individual commitment. Everybody has to be on board. Everyone has to see how they benefit. A sort of return on investment. You can't have cooperation if people aren't interested in cooperating, which is where recognition, motivation, and commitment come in.
To recap, there are 4 key catalysts that will galvanize a team and spark cooperation. 1. Ensure strategic alignment. 2. Set clear roles and responsibilities in line with the overall strategy. 3. Define working methods. 4. Cultivate commitment. At the end of the day, cooperation brings us back to the management basics. Is that right?
Exactly right. Way to make a long story short.
Story RH, the podcast that makes a long story short.